Also, county politics shall be the subject of our discussion this evening. We are holding court with Honorable Makali Mulu, who is a Member of Parliament, Kitui Central. Also, we're joined by Senator Richard Onyonka, Senator of Kisii County. I can see a message here from Dr. James Nyikal that he will not be able to make it today because of latest developments so far. So there is a meeting that is being held right now. Apparently, he's held up in that particular meeting. So we'll miss Dr. Nyikal. But nonetheless, we continue first with the conversation. And I want just to extend a hearty welcome to both of you, Honorable Makali Mulu and Richard Onyonka. I know today has been a busy day in Parliament. Yeah. So the sessions, setting out the plans for the year. You are just fresh also from the Lake Naivasha Resort, yeah, where you had the 26th legislative meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Debarl, for hosting us.
Good to see you.
As you say, we resumed Parliament yesterday. And basically, day 1 and day 2 are normally procedural issues. So what we did yesterday was, first of all, to come up with a House Business Committee, which sets the agenda for the House. And then today was basically agreeing on what we call procedural motions. These are motions which determine the timing for different motions.
Yeah.
If it's a bill, how much time will be allocated, how much time will be allocated to the majority leader, the move of the motion, and the rest of the members. So that's what has been happening mostly for the rest of the day. I think of tomorrow is when we might now get to the details of discussing serious business. But so far, so good. So as you say, we have quite some agenda, and we have a lot of work for the remaining part of the year. The focus for the first 6 months, budget-related bills, because we must get the budget for the next financial year. So we expect the budget policy statement to be tabled in time in the House. That will keep Parliament busy all the way up to about June. We have about 4 bills related to the budget. We have the Division of Revenue Bill, which shares resources vertically, that's between the national government and the county government. We have the Appropriations Bill, which will now be the budget for the national government. We have the County Allocations Bill, which will be allocating resources to the counties. We have what we call the County Additional Resources Allocation Bill, which brings on board issues of financing outside the equitable share. And then we have the Equalization Bill, which also now allocates the resources for the Equalization Fund. So all these bills now, and the last one, which is critical, is the Finance Bill.
The Finance Bill itself.
So those bills must now pass through Parliament. So in terms of legislative work, we have a lot of work to do. The other thing which will be focused on is basically the electoral-related laws.
Yes.
Amendments. You know, like the campaign financing bill, which has been in the House for a long time. IEBC has pleaded with the House that we pass that bill so that we can actually regulate our campaign financing. And then there are some amendments to the election law so that we address some of the gaps which were picked from the last elections. So basically that's what will be happening. Then a number of private members' bills, just to supplement the government side's bills. So in that case, I can tell you it's a very busy session for all of us for the rest of the year.
All right. What is happening in the Senate? Good to see you, Honorable Onyonka.
Thank you. Debarl, I've been away because I needed to take off.
You took a long break.
A long break. I needed to rejuvenate my thinking, my everything. Of course, we came back also on Tuesday.
Yes.
And essentially, they are looking at the calendar, just like he's saying. There are certain bills which have to go through the National Assembly and then they come to the Senate. So they are going to interface both of them. The other issue that is now coming up is every committee is sitting at Bunge Towers and coming up with what is it we are going to do for this year. For example, Health Committee, there are certain counties that we never visited. So this is now when they're being put into the program. Those who are doing infrastructure and other things, they also have to put some. Education has the same. And of course, the most interesting thing is the comments from the governors the other day directly affecting the workings of the Senate. And I was telling somebody that, you see, for me, I've been at the Senate for, Mheshimiwa Makau, you've been around with me at the same time. Mm-hmm. And for anybody to point a finger in that house, you're joking. Because it is a den of thieves. It's a den of snakes and ladders. I mean, the reality is people have come to make their money. So if the governors feel that they have been giving money, now they are being extorted, why were they giving that money? The interpretation I give it is very simple. Some of the transgressions that you see in those audit reports, some of these guys should be in jail with no bail, no bond, nothing. Somebody transgresses the public procurement law completely, goes and buys machines I don't know from where, looks for a private company to give that, starts paying himself from county resources. And nobody's doing anything. Why? EACC is already compromised. Nobody from the DCI is going to talk anything. And now you notice the toxic political environment that is existing in Kenya. Nobody is interested in oversight. People have already started thinking how they're going to make their money for the next 1 year, because the elections are coming next year. Mm-hmm. So if you look at what the country has achieved in 5 years, over a budget of about, can I say, 3.5 times 5 years, that's 15 trillion shillings, you might actually end up finding that there's nothing that happened.
All right, but these are also very serious allegations that the lawmakers are making here of extortion, political witch hunt, intimidation, because also they feel that most of you in the Senate,
yes,
many of you also are gagging for that particular seat. So maybe you want also to paint them in a bad light.
No,
for the sake of the political expediency from your end.
You see, my experience, because I was in that committee, it is ODM governors who went and complained to Mzee Raila that I should be removed from the committee. Why? Because I was asking very serious questions. Do you understand what I'm saying? In other words, I'm being removed from a committee because I'm doing my job. And these people have that kind of influence as a cartel to make sure they could either blackmail or even influence Mzee Raila to give a go-ahead for me to be transferred. There's even a likelihood Mzee Raila didn't even know. That's how those guys behave. Once you engage on their interests. Number two, there are certain things which are brought to those audited reports. They are just despicable. I mean, there are certain things you can ignore. If somebody has misappropriated 2.5 million, it's okay. There could be a possibility. You know, you can reason out if this guy was going through a budget of 12 billion shillings, what is really, even if we lost 100 million. The issue that we are dealing with, Debarl, is that the money that is being stolen in the county system is incredibly shocking. Including all the World Bank money. Yeah, Floca.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
And yet the controller, the Auditor General and the controller have always said these things.
Okay, so do we know this for, legislators who are being accused of extortion, political witch hunt? They know this for senators? Have they named them? Do you know?
They have announced, yes. I see they have printed names of 4 individuals. Mm-hmm. According to me,
I'm not privy to that. Who are this?
They have just given the names.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they've done that?
Yes.
I haven't seen the names yet.
I've seen it. It just came on my phone here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are saying that the 4 senators one is Sifuna, Cherargei, Akajuang, and Mwaruma. Mm-hmm. And for me, this then takes a different dimension. Mm-hmm. Because then, but the question, and this is what I was asking yesterday, why would you want to bring your name, Mr. Makau's name, to your TV station? And I basically accuse him of having extorted money from me and is a thief. And yet we have basic institutions where these individuals, if this team of governors have the evidence that that is what has been going on, then legitimately, this is something, even by the correspondence, they would have written to EACC and say, this guy is extorting from us. Mm-hmm. So that then EACC can have enough evidence.
All right.
Because right now, the governors have to provide the evidence. All right? And I know they could have evidence. You just never know. But my point is, should really the Council of Governors and the Senate be where we are today? What does this do to devolution? Because the public loses confidence in it, because you have the High House and the governors who are receiving money through the Senate are saying how senators are actually extorting money from them. That creates what I have continuously and frequently said on this platform, Debarl with you. I've always said our system is so broken that for you to want to make it functional, and my brother here will agree with me, we must deliberately sit down on how to fix it back.
Indeed.
Okay, am I lying? The system is so broken. The things that happen in this system are so pathetic. Money is available. Government state resources can be picked and taken and transferred, and it doesn't matter anymore.
All right, and I know we've mentioned Sifuna on that particular list. I don't know, did you find it that the governors are providentially coming up with these names at this particular time when, you know, the Senate is making their sittings? Just as you said, if there was an issue of extortion,
yes.
why did they also make sure that actually these names have been forwarded to ACC earlier? Because also the timing is suspect. Why now?
Yeah, thank you, Debarl. You know, Debarl, as a Kenyan, I'm very worried, very, very worried. When Kenyans decided to give themselves devolution through the new constitution, I don't think what we are seeing is what we expected. First of all, if you look at the constitution, it is very clear that the Senate was purposely created to address the interests of the counties. Actually, the Senate has no other assignment. The assignment number one is to champion the interests of the counties. That being the case, it means that the Senate should have all the powers required to ensure that devolution works. Now, why am I saying I'm very worried as a Kenyan? Is because this story about people giving out money to the senators is not a new story. You remember at one point, the head of state did ask about some 150 million,
yes,
which was being given to the Senate to clear a governor. Another question
was being impeached.
Who was being impeached? The question is, Debarl, if you are a governor and you have been given public resources, the law is very clear that you must use those resources prudently. That word is in the Constitution, prudently. And any attempt not to use those resources prudently then should lead to some investigation. Now, looking at what is happening, look at where the Senate sits. The Senate has no direct mandate to go down to the grassroots and look at the books of the governors. That is done by the County Assembly and the Auditor General. So the Senate only comes in at the level of the report from Auditor General. So the Senate will not discuss what the report has said, and what normally they would do is ask for clarification on issues which are not clear.
Yes.
Now the question is, as a governor, why now? Because it means what is happening has been happening. So the question is, why now? Is it that because they think the Senate, where they are now, they are exposing them, and their next term is under threat because next year is elections? So is it that they are being exposed, and they think that when the next year comes, then they will not be able to defend their seats? That's the question. The other thing is, we have constitutional institutions in this country.
Absolutely.
One of them being the Ethics and Corruption Commission. We have the Criminal Investigation Department, who are mandated to pick some of these reports from the Auditor General and do further investigation, including forensic audit, so that by that you can then pin down individuals based on facts. So I hope that people are not running away from accountability. I see when the governors talk, I see what they are saying, but the question I'm asking myself, why now?
Why now?
The other thing, Debarl, which is critical, and we need to bring this out. When you look at the arrangement of the governance architect at the level of the county, you have the county assembly, and you have the governors. Now, from where you sit, what happens to the county assemblies? The county assemblies will pick these things, but they are scared of exposing the governors. Because once you do that, you are likely to be blacklisted, and your award may be denied development.
Yes.
So in that case, the MCAs are very, very careful the way they relate with their governors. You have seen some county assemblies where the governor has no choice but to put these guys on a flight to somewhere for an existing benchmarking trip, just to please them, so that they don't impeach them. So that being the case, you find that then the Senate becomes the only way out, because the Senate has no ward, which can be denied development, to dig deeper into some of these issues. So for me, what I would want to see is, let the governors table evidence, so that the investigative authorities will take it up. And if Makali Mulu is found to be corrupt, let the law take its course.
Indeed.
So that we don't have a general statement saying senators are corrupt, MPs are corrupt. Let's have specific things. And the other thing is, there has been a lot of talk about. We need to see action.
Fantastic. Well articulated, and I think we need to just take a short break on that particular note. And I know people are asking also, the governors have been complaining and saying all this, that the appearance before the Senate, it's all about political optics and posturing. You just want to also paint a bad picture to the public, through the interrogations that really go on live on camera as well. But when we come back, we want to delve deeper on the matters of party politics and see the state of affairs of ODM and the Wiper Party. As you know it right now, Edwin Sifuna has exited. This has been, of course, in the pipeline, according to many. The writing has been on the wall. Also, did he overplay his hands as far as, being very vocal as the Secretary General of ODM? We interrogate this on the other side of a break. Don't go away.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of hours you work, but about your ability to put it aside. If you can't step away, it can lead to chronic stress.
Now I'm thinking about work all the time, less contact with friends. So people are like, dude, let's hang out on Saturday. Sorry, man, no, I have to work. I started missing very simple things such as calling my mom. And for a guy who grew up with a single mother, that's not the greatest thing to do. And from there onwards, I'd missed my best friend's birthday as well.
I became concerned when he started doing a lot more late night shifts than he normally did. That's when I started becoming more concerned about his mental health.
Signs of workaholism include freeing up personal time in order to work, feeling stressed when unable to work, withdrawing socially, and working to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy.
I started messing up because I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for like a presenter. I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for a sound guy, for camera, all the different shoot days.
Burnout is closely related to work addiction, and may be its major consequence. There are many early signs of burnout: sleep and stomach issues, headaches, poor concentration, chronic exhaustion, and feeling more irritable.
My breaking point finally hit, and it started impacting my body, where I would be holding something as simple as like a cup of coffee and I'm trembling. I came home late from a shoot, and next thing I know, I'm dozing off behind the wheel. Had I not just swayed in a different direction, I don't think I'd be here. After the near-death experience, I went to go see the psychologist.
Work addiction can manifest itself physically, but it can also manifest itself mentally and emotionally. And that's when we speak about mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, or I think one that is most common is that you're unable to just cope with everyday life. You know, things that you found very easy to do, you don't find so easy to do anymore.
I had some childhood things that I hadn't dealt with. Fear of feeling like I'm less than compared to most people.
I think at times you want to seek external validation, and in that way, you really want to work hard to gain the approval of someone else. And the opposite of that is to be internally validated, right? And in that way, you acknowledge your own strengths.
The best asset that I can invest in is myself. That's where I went, okay, let's start with maybe just making more time to go and work out. From that point onward, I realized that maybe also a change of environment would give me something better. And I resigned, started my own company. I'm a lot better now. Life got a lot more clear.
Noodles once were my daily crave until they led me into a hell's cave. Now I strive for meals that heal. Noodles, the aroma, the flavor just feels like, oh my god, these noodles are good. But then, you're in showbiz, you can't be a ball. You have to be an 8 soon.
Junk food is ultra-processed food that has low nutritional value. It is often high in salt, fat, and sugar in very unhealthy quantities.
My name is Nakiat, and I'm 13 years old. I love noodles.
Ultra-processed foods are heavily engineered products, designed with improved shelf life, texture, flavor, and appearance in mind. This makes them super tasty, so they're able to trigger strong cravings.
When I started poetry when I was 2.5, when my school needed a toddler to say their anniversary poem, I proceeded from there to winning Talented Kids in 2019. I was actually the first poet to reach the grand finale. There was this organization called the CV.
Welcome back. You're watching the Insight here on TV 47, and this evening I'm holding court with Honorable Makali Mulu, who is a Member of Parliament, Kitui Central. Also, we're joined by Richard Onyonka, the Senator of Kisii, and I just got information that really came to hand right now that Dr. James Jikal, who is meant to be here as well, will not make it due to the latest development, which is the kicking out of Senator Edwin Sifuna from ODM. So they have a meeting that has been just called, on short notice. So we continue, and then this is where I really want to come in and ask, especially Honorable Onyonka, who has been prevaricating lately of where he really stands, if he's in, I don't know which party, if he's in an ODM, he's been very millimouth. We've not seen you on this function as well. Maybe today you can reveal what has been happening, and the writing was on the wall. Do you think Edwin Sifuna overplayed his hand? Did he also have up on his collective sleeves the strategy of exiting ODM through what they call the indiscipline that he was causing?
Debarl, first of all, I wanted to say that the issue in Kenya of wanting to be in some outfit, whether you're going to go to UDA or is basically a non-issue to me. Because there is no political party in Kenya that has an ideology. What you have are transactional vessels which enable me to achieve a political goal, which may mean I either win my seat as an MCA, an MP, governor, or president. Normally, the tradition in our country, even though we don't want to discuss it, is that every time that a political party has won an election, then it goes to the second term, it immediately gets collapsed. Like an old truck which has done its mileage and it's dumped, it can't be repaired, and therefore you pick again another outfit, right? And yet what they discuss, and that is why every time I've raised these issues about our dysfunctionality as a state, that's why there is no regime that can continue with what the other regime had started, right? You remember we started with something called 2030. You remember we came into this concert city. I mean, the dysfunctionality is so deliberate, and that is why you see the political parties that exist are not even there to build democracy per se. Because you only see that by the number of people who moved over to UDA immediately they were put in government, and you see what they are saying. My colleagues, when they are discussing what is going on, they are either saying how it's their opportunity to now benefit from this government, which they have been discriminated against for years. And in fact, the problem is Uhuru and the Kikuyu nation. No, even Kalonzo has been part of that problem. No, even Kina Onyonka. I mean, it's everybody else who's being blamed now for what has been basically issues of bad governance in Kenya, and not necessarily to the Luo community. Northeastern, they have the same problem. You go to Hola, what is there? Go to Taita Taveta. It is after devolution came that some of these crazy disparities started changing. So, number one, political parties do not necessarily have any ideology. So they have what I call political interest, which is usually camouflaged for personal interest.
Transactional.
And
yes.
Right now what is happening is ODM as a party that I actually have never said it, but because I didn't think it was so important. I was amongst the first members who joined Raila when nobody wanted even to be with him. I'm number 147 or something like that. We then came in. Why were we coming in the way we did? It was because ODM was touching our hearts. Raila was discussing the very issues of the dysfunctionality of the state called Kenya. Excessive amounts of corruption, nepotism, tribalism passes over there, casual and transactional engagement with individuals who, depending on what is in it for you, we changed from eating the 10% that was what we used to eat before the year 2000. We are now doing 80%, and 10 or 20% is what you see in a project. We have moved our debt from 2 trillion when Kibaki was leaving, where we are right now. I believe by next year you'll find our debt is going to be 16, 18 trillion. And then when you do an forensic audit and an analysis of what this money has done, by now we should have paid our loans of SGR. The expressway would be having another 10 expressways, and this country, you'll be paying your free education, available water, and the country is running. So I come right back to the question you asked me. Sifuna was not pushing his hand. Let me tell you why. Look at the things Raila said before he died. His last statements. He said, We are in a coalition, I'm in an agreement with these people. They're our friends. The country was going to break down. We decided we help them. So what we are going to do is we are going to join them in a way, all right? But we are going to join them in trying to stabilize the government and do ABCD, and he took off with the government. Then, according to my interpretation, Raila found himself being forced to make an explanation as to why he agreed to do that with the president, who, according to some people, was so weak, and by now his regime would have been toppled. And as a result, actually people stopped believing what ODM stood for. People were doubting Raila's leadership in terms of him explaining his engagement with President Ruto. That comes in with the issue of AU, him running for it. That comes in with all the other issues which are camouflaged with, let me say, lack of transparency and everything. Then you automatically find everybody in ODM has started looking for a space. And I believe Sifuna started looking for a space just before Raila had died. And then we all noticed that there was much more other than just forming this government, because then immediately people started saying, we are actually going to work with William, and as a result of that, for us, we are moving on. But you see, some of us who come from Kisii County have been in ODM. And I needed time to go and talk to the people who voted for me. What do they expect me to do if I'm given such an opportunity that has been brought? And for me, Debarl, what actually happened is that the community said, we don't want. Because of various reasons, bad issues and political miscalculations, both by Mzee Raila and the government. That is how the cases began. At the same time, then the narrative which made sense to us is that this government, or the regime per se, and indeed it may not even be William Ruto's problem, is that any leader who takes over leadership in this country first serves his tribal interest, then he picks out that tribal interest and takes it to the personal interest. Then after that, they roll it down, sometimes, and call it communal interest. Then they deal with their friends, and then the system is designed like that, so that it's able to put you in check, so that you understand that this one you can do and this one you cannot do. But you see, what Sifuna also did, and for me that's why I thought he may not have survived that whole exercise, was not because he doesn't want to let ODM go and he moves with it. He has understood what is wrong with our country. And he's beginning to talk about those things passionately, intelligently, and all of us are saying, those who are in the opposition, we are not trying to change personalities anymore.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right, so we're seeing a sort of a deja vu here happening, coming full circle. Still, we had another Secretary General in the name of Ababu and Namwamba as well. Took a stance that, Edwin Sifuna is taking right now. Are things dramatically different from that particular epic of time that we had Ababu Namwamba and Edwin Sifuna right now, right? And then the question is, will he also get lost in the shuffle? If he comes from ODM, then which will be the next move? Will he also run as an independent? Because if he comes to Wiper Party, also Wiper Party has people who they've really taken their stakes inside, they've dug deeper. Right now that we're heading towards the general election, everyone will want also to just, protect their own turf. When it comes to parliamentary, maybe the party's seats and nominations tickets as well.
Debarl, a couple of points. The first one is that I agree with Senator Onyonga when he says that our Kenyan politics is basically local. So that if you want to discuss politics, you must look at your local
level. Yes.
Local environment. And that's why you see normally there's a lot of movement as we approach elections. Because people would want to do what the DCP says they do, kusikiza ground, so that you're able to go down there and listen to where are your people. Because as a smart politician, you must know the thinking of the people who vote for you. Otherwise, you'll be out of business. The second point is the issues Sifuna talks about in this republic are the issues which address the challenges the common mwananchi is going through. But the question is, how many of the top leaders of this country want that status to change? Because they have used that status quo for such a long time.
Forever.
And for their benefit, and to champion their politics to the next level.
Thank you.
So if you come up as an individual and you want to challenge that status quo, I'm telling you, you'll have so many enemies. And that's why I just want to remind you, Debarl. At one point, the late Michuki said that if you rattle a snake, you must be ready to be beaten. I think Honorable Speaker has been, Honorable Sifuna, Senator Sifuna, has been rattling this snake for a long time. The time to be beaten has come. And I'm telling you, he has to be very strategic. Otherwise,
but he's been doing it this intentionally?
No,
he's been rattling
I
the
suspect
snake waiting
because,
to be beaten, and
because you remember,
was slow in coming.
you remember when the broad-based government, when there was the shaking of hands, at one point I remember the late Honorable Raila saying, who told you that beyond 2027, ODM will have no presidential candidate? And I think on the basis of that is like Honorable Sifuna has been pushing that agenda, that we have some agreement with the Kenya Kwanza government up to 2027. Beyond 2027, as the late Honorable Amoro Odinga used to say, there's nothing in terms of agreement.
Yes.
But what is happening? You come to ODM now, there are a few of them who have tasted the cake, which they have not been able to taste for the last since 1963. They have never been in the government to find how sweet it is to be in the government.
Been there.
So the few who are in the government now, they are saying, you mean this guy wants to take this cake away from us? Because you have heard them say they want 2 terms. Why do they want to push for 2 terms? Because they know the second term will be like what they are going through, they are likely to be retained in their current position. And they'll continue enjoying. But Sifuna is telling them, Mzee did not say we go beyond 27. So that infighting, those who are saying we must remain here to continue enjoying, and those who are saying it's time we change for the better of Kenyans, who are the majority,
yes,
are not being given any chance. And actually, this new information coming up, I've been also in politics for some time. I'm telling you, just as you mentioned, the Honorable Namwamba.
Yes.
By the time Namwamba left ODM, he was rating very highly to Kenyans in terms of the issues he was championing. But what has happened now politically is all over the place. I don't know, he's now an ambassador somewhere. He was a very good politician.
Is it about to Uganda right now?
So with our regional-based politics and our strong party politics, these things can destroy a very popular and a very reasonable politician. So that's why you must play your cards very well.
Very simple.
That if you don't manage that process well, you can find yourself becoming, leaving the political arena while you actually belong there. Because anytime I look at Sifuna talk, he should be in politics for the rest of his life. Because he's a real politician. He's able to articulate his issues. He's able to pick the language of the Mwananchi. But that can easily be cut short by the bosses who seem to be now on his neck. So he has to really play his cards well. I don't know, I'm sure we wish him well. But he must now start thinking hard about how do I navigate through these challenges.
So if it comes to Wiper Party, will he snugly fit within Wiper Party?
You have heard our party leader say...
also DCP extending, their hand, saying, oh, if they kick you out.
I think DCP and Wiper have already said they have open hands for them. They can come into our side. But remember, also Wiper has their own members, DCP have their own members. So they will be coming to a house which already has people. It's not like where they were because they were the people there. So these are the issues which
the technicalities.
The technicalities.
Cost to politically. Yes.
I would like to say that for us in my friend and candidate's party, which is Jubilee, we are actually welcoming the gentleman with open arms, unconditionally. Because the politics they play is our politics. We are talking about the politics of good governance, emancipation, and trying to change the status of this country. And it takes a few very brave young men sometimes to create that momentum. My belief is Akina Sifuna and Babu, you dismiss them at your own peril because they have the youth with them. The youth are what? 48% of the population of this country, most of them. If today we went to Machakos, for example, Makueni, and we were with Bobu and Sifuna, and the field would most probably have more people than if you had even President William Ruto coming. So the point I'm making is that for me, the encouragement I give them is they must consolidate opposition politics. They must make sure that they work with all the principals and give them their due respect because they've also been running the mill. And I believe that with the time, the Kenyans might be surprised. Now, let me tell you why. There isn't anybody in this republic who's in political office who's not affiliated to Kalonzo, William Ruto, Raila Odinga. The people who are being kicked out of the ODM fraternity are some of the best students Raila ever produced. And Sifuna is one of them, Babu Owino is another one, and there are many. I mean, if you look at even Caleb Amisi when he's articulating an issue. In other words, these young men have understood where they are, and they have understood the weightiness of the historic implication of them, given the Gen Z connection, that their generation is the one which feels most violated. So it depends on what they are going to do to make sure that they pick the generation, don't alienate our generation of who they call the oldies, and make sure that we keep the opposition message simple, clear, and that we have to remove President William Ruto from office because he hasn't done ABCD. But in terms of judging Sifuna right now, and I've been around for a while, he has got, one, what it takes to play opposition politics. He has the sound and the voice. I believe his heart is at the right place. And depending on what he does between now and the next 5 years, he's actually, according to me, presidential material. Yes.
All right, so what really happens to ODM? Now just critically looking at ODM, because everyone was seeing, oh, this is just a bubble waiting now to burst. Could that be...
Actually, what has happened, Debarl, and I think I even said it in this, when we were in one of our shows with you, we did say that the test of time relating to ODM was to manage transition. And I did say then that the way they should manage transition is to ensure that in ODM, there is space for the old generation and there is space for the young generation. Now, what has happened is they have closed that space for
the young
people, forgetting that this country, the young population is about 70%. So don't be surprised as we move to the future to see ODM becoming a share. Because you don't know what these young people will go. They, by walking out, they might walk out with a huge population of ODM supporters. And that was my fear. Because initially I said, to manage this transition, you need to be very careful because we have young people who are very aggressive, we have old people who are very experienced politically, and for you to get a delicate balance, you need to ensure that both of them are on the table. So that they make... But now, where I come from, there's this saying that when an old man dies, and you see the family getting derailed, we always say, huyo mtu ameenda na mali yake. That means mzee ameondoka na ameondoka na kila kitu, so mmeachiwa shell, which means you are not able to manage whatever he has left behind. I hope that it will not be like that ODM, that the death of Raila becomes the death of ODM. That's my prayer, that it doesn't become. But what has happened this week is pointing to that direction. So how I wish they could sit down, and I'm happy that our friend Dr. Nyikal, who is very level-headed and very objective.
I wish he was here also.
Is in a meeting relating to this matter. Because I would want to plead with ODM that they create room for these young people. Let them accommodate them. So that I've said many times, I don't belong to ODM, but for me, for maturity of democracy in this country, we need parties like ODM, Wiper, parties which are strong, which have a bit of history, so that we push the democracy to the next level. Otherwise, if we let ODM go because you don't belong there, me and Onyonga, we are no longer in that side, and we say because you are not there, we don't care, we will not be caring about the nation in terms of democracy.
Absolutely. The other point I wanted to make, Debarl, is sometimes history is very interesting. For the last 5 years, you notice what happens when somebody is chased away. Let's go back to Wetangula. When Mzee Raila was telling Wetangula to get out as a minority leader in the Senate, all right? I was amongst the people who actually spoke to him. I said, Mzee, don't do that. Because then, you know, I was a Fort Kenya MP. I told him, but we've been your friends. When I was in foreign affairs with Wetangula, I used to travel with Wetangula to go and look for campaign funds for Mzee. I mean, this is somebody who was decent, you know. Why you... He said, leave it. It costed the 235 votes which he lost from Bungoma. Come down to what happened to Gachagua. A lot of people are now saying they don't understand why President William Ruto was not able to manage Gachagua and don't impeach him. Now, Central, of course, irrespective of how you look at it, whether you're pro the government or against the government, Central has gone. All right? Now, when you have such a scenario, now look at the third aspect. And because my brother has agreed with us, and this is where we are as a country, and we must begin to start telling each other the truth. Politics is regional. So today somebody told me the other day, they killed Jirongo. Then he told me, you see what has been going on? They go and even want to fight Natembea. They tell me, then now, what have they done? They have chased away who? Sifuna. And of course, also he's going to be useless in that place because what the people who are running ODM right now don't understand is that our politics is essentially regional based. And that regionalism is what Osotsi and Sifuna were holding on to as the base for ODM. And if they are not needed, then most likely they're going to end up joining DAP because DAP is most probably going to be the next regional thing. Or if they decide to join Fort K is pro-government, they may not want. So to me, the reality you have is that the president actually, Dr. Makau, is making very bad political mistakes, which I don't understand why you would make such mistakes. Because there are some people who you must keep for your government to be stable.
Okay, so you're harking back to the mistake that you think, according to your own assessment, Mr. William Ruto made in kicking out Gachagua.
Yes.
So he's become, you know, the devil that he never wanted him to be. And now we have as well Edwin Sifuna.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this also will be the unbundling, so to
it's
speak.
Going to be them.
ODM's
That's my interpretation.
My music is up. We want to see what is next on the table as well, because and how this is going to shape the dynamics of our politics moving forward as well, because I think this will be a pivotal move. Everyone will be watching to see what is the next move on the chessboard. That is a political chessboard as well. But we take a short break. When we circle back, of course, we analyze this more robustly.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of hours you work, but about your ability to put it aside. If you can't step away, it can lead to chronic stress.
Now I'm thinking about work all the time, less contact with friends. So people are like, dude, let's hang out on Saturday. Sorry, man, no, I have to work. I started missing very simple things such as calling my mom. And for a guy who grew up with a single mother, that's not the greatest thing to do. And from there onwards, I've missed my best friend's birthday as well.
I became concerned when he started doing a lot more late night shifts than he normally did. That's when I started becoming more concerned about his mental health.
Signs of workaholism include freeing up personal time in order to work, feeling stressed when unable to work, withdrawing socially, and working to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy.
I started messing up because I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for like a presenter. I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for a sound guy, for camera, all the different shoot days.
Burnout is closely related to work addiction, and may be its major consequence. There are many early signs of burnout: sleep and stomach issues, headaches, poor concentration, chronic exhaustion, and feeling more irritable.
My breaking point finally hit, and it started impacting my body, where I would be holding something as simple as like a cup of coffee, and I'm trembling. I came home late from a shoot, and next thing I know, I'm dozing off behind the wheel. Had I not just swayed in a different direction, I don't think I'd be here. After the near-death experience, I went to go see the psychologist.
Work addiction can manifest itself physically, but it can also manifest itself mentally and emotionally. And that's when we speak about mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, or I think one that is most common is that you're unable to just cope with everyday life. You know, things that you found very easy to do, you don't find so easy to do anymore.
I had some childhood things that I hadn't dealt with. Fear of feeling like I'm less than compared to most people.
I think at times you want to seek external validation, and in that way, you really want to work hard to gain the approval of someone else. And the opposite of that is to be internally validated, right? And in that way, you acknowledge your own strengths.
The best asset that I can invest in is myself. That's where I went, okay, let's start with maybe just making more time to go and work out. From that point onward, I realized that maybe also a change of environment would give me something better. And I resigned.
All right, this is Tip O'Neill, the former U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives, who said that all politics is local. And we just want to see what are some of the ramifications and repercussions of this decision that ODM has done so far of kicking out Edwin Sifuna out of the ODM party as the General Secretary, right? What will be some of the cascading effects that will be affecting, you know, the political dynamics in the country as well? And this is where I just wanted to come to you, Honorable Makali, on this, just looking at the next move that he'll be making. Because looking at the chessboard right now, we can see people are saying, you know, we have these people who are in ODM, who are from the Luya community, you know, and now it seems he was a leading figure, of course, from that particular region within ODM right now. And people are saying, oh, why are they getting castigated? We have also the the vice president as well, Sotsi as well, has been on the same line. So what does it portend for the Western Bloc, especially within ODM? Because it seems if Sifuna moves on and says, mumeona, wamenifanyia hiyo kitu, kwa sababu naongea ukweli. So this is will be the victim signaling, and now also the quest now, or maybe the sympathy vote. So in essence, they are building up, Edwin Sifuna to a very, insurmountable, towering figure that he was never made.
Now, Debarl, let me just rewind a bit and go to 2022 and ask ourselves, where did the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga get his votes from? The 7 million plus. That vote came from Western Kenya, from Luo Nyanza, from Kisii, from Ukambani region, that is the stronghold of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, and from Coast. Those are the main blocks for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So what we are saying is, looking at it today, with the Sifuna and Osos out of ODM, and of late, Honorable Paranya has been, I don't know if that's because he has become a CS or what, he's not been that active as he used to be. With those two out, assuming they go back to their region and say that we are no longer wanted in ODM as a region, so that they lose that block. Kisii, we might want it or we may not want to say it, is gone. I'm sure Nyonga will be confirming that.
Completely.
That it's no longer with ODM. Kisii is run with the Honorable Matiang'i.
So, it will be painted red.
It's out.
Yes.
Ukambani region, we are automatically out of that voting block. Now, the only block which is remaining is the Nyanza, the Luo Nyanza, and the coastal region. And if you have been following politics of late, the coastal team has been saying, from where we sit, we must be on that table where things are being negotiated.
Thank you.
And the person who wants to be on that table is Honorable Hassan Joe. And they have said, if Joe is not on that table, then we are not boarding. Now, with the way things are working currently, there's a likelihood that those guys might not be bonding also. So assuming those voting blocks leave, where is ODM? It will be a share. And that's why we are saying people need to sit down and think critically and strategically on how do we maintain this voting block. Because this voting block, and that's why at times I'm saying, I've seen the new party leader saying, we will be able to negotiate hard for our position. Now, in a situation now you have become a shell, when do we get the energy to negotiate? Who will listen to you?
You lose your bargaining power.
You lose your bargaining power.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. If I were the party leader, what I would have done, I would make sure that I will only kick people out of my party as a last resort. Because I want to be having them. So that when I go to Onyonga and we're negotiating, I tell him, Onyonga, look at me. Look at what is behind me.
This is what I'm bringing.
And then
I have people from who are with me.
They are represented in all regions.
And they have got value.
So now, to me, I think in terms of strategy, there is something missing. Something missing. And I will not be surprised. The other day I saw the party leader saying, we don't want your deputy president position. I hope that was informed by the fact that things are not holding.
So that might change right now.
Together because honestly,
who has the upper hand on this negotiating?
So the thing is, as I said earlier, it's unfortunate this is happening, and I think really let people stop around and say, really, if we want this party to remain intact, we need to listen to each other and accommodate each other. That would be critical.
The likelihood of also him going to DAPK is very high. And if he goes there and he says that now we want to run, for the governorship of this city, of which I think he said he is not even interested, but maybe if he's prevailed upon and he's advised that why can't you give it a try, do you think there's a likelihood that he can sail through?
My belief is that everything would most probably be on the table.
Okay.
All right. The politics is going to play itself as we move. I think all the three of you, because you've been involved in this politics thing and you're aware, that a month in this thing is very long.
It is.
The truth is, and I say this, Debarl, without any fear of contradiction, that if you had the team of what you call the ODM rebels, whom party leader Oburu has decided to get rid of, move out and join the opposition, all right, the coalition, our coalition. And the reality, you know very well, historically, you know what happens. You see so many of these people who are making noise with two-term, because they're saying the government is bringing things which we are giving you. They're talking about roads being done and all that kind of stuff. Even when the government comes and does those things, and you go and really take advantage of it and say, I'm the one who brought those roads. When the public decides they're going to change people, they'll change. That's why the rate of attrition, the number of members of parliament who gets re-elected has never gone beyond 30%. Never. Why? Because there are certain substantive issues that come in to a political environment which may not have nothing to do with development. You cannot treat me shabbily and expect me, are you with me, to accept your development and hope that I'm going to work with you. That is slavery. So what is going to happen, and I'm predicting like all other political people do, I believe that the Odinga family, and I leave Mama Ida out of it, but I count all the children, they are going to disagree with this decision. Why? And people have been saying this, and even me, I think I said it, I can't remember when. There are certain things that this government was supposed to do to make sure that those who are in ODM agree, because there were 10 points. I've never understood, and we've said this severally, what is so difficult compensating the children who died? That is not controversial, is it? Debarl.
Yeah, but there's been information there about the compensation that has challenges also in the courts as well. So the government at least has made a decisive move in trying to compensate.
Now you're talking like you came from Europe yesterday. You're a Kenyan, bro. If these things were supposed to have been done, they would have been 53 months ago. That's the truth. The government doesn't have a shortage of money. You can see how much money. We are now pushed even the budget ahead again, close to 4 trillion.
But the constitutive body that was meant to steamroll this,
yes,
you know, you're aware, also you yourself, you're not a stranger in Jerusalem. Yeah, has had legal, challenges in courts as well, isn't it?
My argument is very simple. Okay, that is one of them. Which other one have they done?
But this should have been the one.
Out of the 10 points. Okay, let's leave that one. Let's assume that there is a legitimate reason why there is the delay. What I am saying is, even when President William Ruto was discussing and negotiating with Raila on what arrangements would be held pre-Gen Z and post-Gen Z and post-2027, the issue that actually has been in contention is that some of the people who are in ODM like me and Kina Sifuna have been saying that we don't think that President William Ruto has got good faith for him to actually fulfill what Raila believed in. And therefore, we must salvage ODM to make sure that we continue checking government until we either get into government or continue government as we continue making amendments to those bad laws which do exist. So there's certain, a lot of people don't think that when we joined ODM, like Monro Mamaka, who's in Wiper Party, you may not think that they don't believe in anything. Okay, we may not have ideology, but we believe in certain things. There are certain things you can't do, the strong areas where Wiper comes from. There are certain things we are saying as ODM people that we saw how demonstrations changed Section 2A. Demonstrations brought in the new constitution. And remember when Babu Wine was talking about this? We are saying, so long as we maintain the dignity in these demonstrations and reduce impunity out of that and make sure the state doesn't turn them around or whatever, and people have a way of venting, that is the only way the state can actually improve on service delivery and the treatment of its people. So when we find people in government always making noise about how demonstrations are for only the weak, and I've seen my colleagues in ODM saying that, if you think you want to go to and demonstrate and you think demonstrations are what you want, why don't you go there? The truth is, liberation journeys have never been finished by one generation. So what our brothers are saying, for me, is legitimate. They are tired of liberating the country and giving it good governance. But other Kenyans will come, and they will demand that good governance exists, and they will demand that Kenya becomes a country that we all believe in. And the challenges we have are fixable. You see, this is what is so annoying. Debarl, what is so difficult, Mheshimiwa, with us employing students who graduated earlier in order, first in, first out, last in, last out? Why have we stopped believing in meritocracy? I mean, which country are we trying to create? I mean, these are the things that ODM used to stand for. It was not just about going to have demonstrations and banning things. No. When we are talking about human rights and making sure that we treat each other better, why are people either shot and they die and there are no investigations? And why Kenyans are scared? Kenyans never used to be scared. We always told each other the truth. If somebody annoyed you, you say nitakuchapa, then you run away. But Kenyans never really reached a stage where they're like, you know what?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me turn the crack a bit, and we discuss the issue to do with the united opposition as it is right now.
Thank you.
Because there are formidable, fundamental questions that are really coming to the fore within the structure that you have within the united opposition. Firstly, is Wiper Party still in Azimio? I think you've been challenging that so far with the new restructuring that has been, also challenged by some of the Azimio members.
Yes.
And we have all these instruments, deposited within the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties as it stands right now. Why do you want to resuscitate Azimio? You was talking about transactional vessels, and this is one that I think has really done its work. You need to move on. Why are you clinging, even if you're clinging by the fingernails, on this particular dilapidated, so to speak,
No, I think what has happened, Debarl, is that we are not trying to revive Azimio. Azimio has been in place. If you remember well, from the last elections, we had two coalitions. We had the Kenya Kwanza coalition and the Azimio coalition. And that is what is already with the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Now, what has happened because of this informal way of doing things, where our colleagues, DM, went for the broad-based government. You remember they were the people who are leading Azimio. The fact that the leaders, they exited informally without really announcing it, meant Azimio become very weak. But in terms of, if you go to Parliament today, we already recognize two coalitions, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. And if you look at the leadership of the House, it is on those bases. We have leaders who lead the Azimio coalition and those who lead the Kenya Kwanza coalition. So what has happened is, because of the fact that some key partner moved to the other side, then the Azimio became weak. But what has happened is now, we have now agreed there is need for a new leadership in Azimio. And the life of Azimio, as per law, is all there up to 2027. So what has been, we've just given it new life by giving a new leader or new leadership. And what will happen now, the new leader is supposed to reactivate Azimio so that we play our key role.
But were there any wider consultations so that everyone is on the same page, so that you'll avoid these particular challenges you're facing?
No, normally what happens is, because Azimio had a management team, which was headed by, the chair was President Uhuru Kenyatta, and then there were membership, where then the coalition leader was the late Honorable Amolo Odinga. What has happened, they just called those who used to be in the management team, what we call the top team. And the people decided that we are going to replace the position which had been taken by Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, now is taken up by Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. The position which used to be held by Honorable Junet, has been taken over by Karoli Omondi, so that the life of Azimio goes up to 2027. Now, as to whether 2027 will go into another coalition or we go in Azimio, That's a matter for another day. We'll get there when we cross. But there's no way now you can kill Azimio, because killing Azimio will mean then that even the leadership in the House has to be affected.
So help me understand. You said come up with these changes and you still have your document deposited with the Register of Political Parties.
Of course.
How does it work?
It's only the leadership which has changed.
Does it rescind?
No.
Yeah, what is happening? What has been, that one becomes
okay, before it comes in, what has happened, anytime you change the leadership in a coalition, you file that with the Register of Political Parties. So that it's just a change of offices. Azimio still remains intact, but now the leadership has changed from so and so, and I think basically that will remain up to the time we dissolve Azimio. And I think Sonyonga said it earlier that some of these coalitions die with when the power changes.
Doesn't that happen in concurrence with everyone who is...
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
No, let me... It does.
GOtv is a key component
it does.
It's an agreement that is over of the instruments of power to another office or office holder.
I would like to
please
to help you or help myself make this argument. Actually, what you are trying to talk about is what is Karoli Omondi doing there?
Yes.
All right? And the answer is very simple. ODM has left. They have said they have joined government. They are negotiating their own thing. Why would you worry about Azimio? Unless you now want to come and collapse our committees.
No, but they've not left on paper.
No, but let me tell you, the political parties bill.
Whom of you, you want to tell me this evening you haven't left?
No.
Technically, you're in ODM,
yeah,
but you're not in ODM. You're actually in Jubilee.
No, I am in ODM.
Yeah,
Jubilee, I'm a friend. I'm a friend of Jubilee
let's be realistic,
Debarl. I am a friend of Jubilee because they're in the opposition. I am not with the wing that is going to join government.
But you're being held down.
No, I'm not.
Because of ODM.
No.
You are
the politics I play
in politics
is exact. It hasn't changed. Have you seen me change? None. I agree with what Jubilee. If Jubilee starts saying they love President William Ruto, I'll walk away from them. I mean, you guys sometimes need to understand some of us are not very normal politicians. We are not, we don't just cooler and you are given money and then you are told, oh, from today you say President. I have fundamental issues that I disagree with President William Ruto, and they are not personal. It is his governance style and the way he's managing the country. Shouldn't I be allowed that advantage or privilege? My argument is yes. And if I'm in an outfit which has decided that now they're moving over, we didn't even discuss in the NDC to agree whether that's what we wanted. And apparently the person who I saw as my leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, like for example, if we assume I call him my political father has died, I feel as if family members have sat down and agreed they are going to sell the title deed of Mzee's land before he's even 30 days in the grave. And some of us are saying, Mzee said, don't sell the land. Keep it so that the other siblings can do what? Can benefit from it. That's all we are saying. That's not abnormal. So the point we are making, Debarl, is very simple. Why would the people who have joined the government and they're saying how sweet everything is in government start fighting that they want to be in Azimio? They've already declared they have no business being in the opposition. That's where I am. Unless you want to tell me that the current constitution says that we are no longer having the power, the political power that is in office, or the coalition that is in office, and the opposition coalition which is checking this government, so that we collapse everything, or have we become a one-party state? Those are the issues I'm dealing with, and I'm saying.
And Debarl, the other thing, yeah. Azimio, in terms of leadership, was Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the team leader. The deputy team leader was Honorable Martha Karua, and then Kalonzo was there. Now, Martha Karua pulled a party out of Azimio. Yes. He's no longer in Azimio.
Yes.
Raila passed on by God's planning. Now, would you have imagined a coalition without leadership? So what we have done, we just put in leadership to ensure that this coalition lives the expected life, which is 5 years. And if it happens that then we can strengthen it by bringing members on board as we approach the election, so it be it.
Yes.
But if we decide we want to kill it and create a new coalition, fair enough. But there's no way we would have let our old coalition called Azimio to be 1 year plus without a leader.
But that's what we're asking.
Yes.
Now with all this rearrangement, are you proposing to use it, as a vehicle towards the 2027?
No, more likely
why then do you bring all the sweats?
We'll cross the bridge when we get there, but Azimio has to live up to 2027 because it's the vehicle we all used to get to the parliament.
Me, I like the name. We can rebrand.
So we can rebrand. We can decide to create a new coalition. But for now, I don't think any of us has an option other than pushing Azimio to 2027 so that it lives the life is expected of it. Yes.
All right. So talk to us also about the Jubilee Party and where also Matiang'i is coming. Recently, we saw, I don't know if it was just putting out feelers to get the sentiments of Kenyans regarding, who will be the running mate and, the choice of Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua. We never saw much reactions around it. So I wanted just to get clarification. Was that testing really the waters? We don't know where it was really coming from. And if that is a ticket as well, is that the feeling that you have within the United Opposition? Looking at what we have right now, we have so many voices, cacophony that is really coming from the United Opposition.
That's true.
Today is you have Gachagua speaking, I'm the official spokesperson of the United Opposition. If you want to come and make any negotiations, you have to actually come through, me. And then we have Mukisa Kitui as well. You were congregated and you told Kenyans, on a press conference that this is the official spokesperson of... We're confused. We're confused. You are this amorphous, amoeba-like party that is changing form and shape all the time without any structure. What is the structure of Azimio as it stands right now?
Thank you, Debarl. You've really tried, but you failed miserably.
How did it fail?
These are people. Do you know, can I tell you this, Debarl? Do you know 2 years ago, I would never sit with Gachagua and discuss politics. I was in your show with him, telling him how they will lose and how he was talking about percentages. And in fact, he was a tribalist. I was just seeing Gachagua exactly the way people in government now see him. And yet, later I was to learn that Gachagua's existence is because of the dysfunctionality of our system of politics and economic management. Gachagua is a byproduct of this system that believes in tribalism, of a system where if you are not seen to go and you defend and get things for your people from where you come, then you are useless. How many times have you heard people criticizing and attacking Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka for not being corrupt? That your leaders expect me when I'm a leader to actually, first of all, I should be a good thief. So I'm not caught first. Then after that, I use the money I've stolen, which then I give the voters. Then after I've given these voters the same money, which is supposed to solve their problems, then I go back to the same narrative and we continue. And that's how Kenya has been going on. So what we are saying, some of us, is this. We are not judging Gachagua. No. We are not judging Mzee Kalonzo. If President Kalonzo is elected as the president, I will sign and salute him. Yes, sir. I wish you become a fantastic president. He's our candidate number one. If we reach a position where members of the opposition, it is deemed and seen, because we will do it scientifically, and we are not going to stand up. You remember when these things have always been done between Mzee Raila and Kalonzo and the team. It was done scientifically. There were decisions when people say, no, you can't be a running mate to so-and-so. We think if you are with that combination will work. But for us, these are equals. These are people we believe have good intentions for the country. And we believe that none of them have got the agenda of basically wanting to transfer power to their hands so that they can continue with the same mistakes or transgressions and mistakes that the current government has committed. I would start talking about that government 2 weeks after he's sworn in, if I see him violating what we are talking about. So we are comfortable. I am willing to support Kalonzo if the research we will do, given all the other political issues, his history, his experience. You know, voters reach a stage where they say, now we need a steady hand. Kalonzo may be a very good steady hand. Some people believe that Matiang'i is going to be a Mr. Fix-It because of the things he has done and he's going to be very good. And some people say, no, we feel Kalonzo maybe should be, Matiang'i should become the deputy. Or some people are saying, no, we think it's Gachagua who would be. We are ready for us. Our leadership is united. And let me tell you, my brother, we are not amorphous.
Right. You're not amorphous.
The only thing is,
until now, we take you to be amorphous. We want to take a short break. We circle back because even the name, I hear you saying, oh, we shall still maintain Azimio as a name. The last time I saw you actually, you're actually fronting some names that you can call the coalition.
I thought I should add my voice when it's still very fresh before.
But we'll take a short break.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just keep it hot so that at least we
I thought I would take it. Debarl, you have no reason to worry about.
No. Let's say that on the other side. All right, let's have a break. I am being, of course, directed to take a short break just briefly.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of hours you work, but about your ability to put it aside. If you can't step away, it can lead to chronic stress.
Now I'm thinking about work all the time, less contact with friends. So people are like, dude, let's hang out on Saturday. Sorry, man, no, I have to work. I started missing very simple things such as calling my mom. And for a guy who grew up with a single mother, that's not the greatest thing to do. And from there onwards, I'd missed my best friend's birthday as well.
I became concerned when he started doing a lot more late night shifts than he normally did. That's when I started becoming more concerned about his mental health.
Signs of workaholism include freeing up personal time in order to work, feeling stressed when unable to work, withdrawing socially, and working to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy.
I started messing up because I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for like a presenter. I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for a sound guy, for camera, all the different shoot days.
Burnout is closely related to work addiction, and may be its major consequence. There are many early signs of burnout: sleep and stomach issues, headaches, poor concentration, chronic exhaustion, and feeling more irritable.
My breaking point finally hit, and it started impacting my body, where I would be holding something as simple as like a cup of coffee and I'm trembling. I came home late from a shoot And next thing I know, I'm dozing off behind the wheel. Had I not just swayed in a different direction, I don't think I'd be here right now. After the near-death experience, I went to go see the psychologist.
Work addiction can manifest itself physically, but it can also manifest itself mentally and emotionally. And that's when we speak about mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, or I think one that is most common is that you're unable to just cope with everyday life. You know, things that you found very easy to do, you don't find so easy to do anymore.
I had some childhood things that I hadn't dealt with. Fear of feeling like I'm less than compared to most people.
I think at times you want to seek external validation, and in that way, you really want to work hard to gain the approval of someone else. And the opposite of that is to be internally validated, right? And in that way, you acknowledge your own strengths.
The best asset that I can invest in is myself. That's where I went, okay, let's start with maybe just making more time to go and work out. From that point onward, I realized that maybe also a change of environment would give me something better. And I resigned, started my own company. I'm a lot better now. Life got a lot more clear.
Noodles once were my daily crave until they led me into a hell's cave. Now I strive for meals that heal. Noodles, the aroma, the flavor, just feels like, oh my God, these noodles are good. But then, you're in showbiz, you can't be a ball. You have to be an 8 soon.
Junk food is ultra-processed food that has low nutritional value.
Right, putting tails to it right now. Welcome back to, of course, the tail end of the discussion right now, looking at the party politics as it stands right now. Before we took a short break, we were just to hear from Honorable Makali. You wanted to chime in, and I hope you've not lost that particular mojo, the fire that you had as well.
Yeah, the steam has disappeared a little bit, but it's still there. So what I wanted to say about is that you really have no reason to worry. Because what is happening as Mio, as you all say, we are, let me use the word united opposition. Although I told you I like the word government in waiting. So what is happening is that we have our principals who are there. And you realize that some of the principals have not been part of our team, the Azimio team. So they have just joined. That being the case, there's need, first of all, strategically to build a team. So the people need to interact, talk in boardrooms, talk out there, so that you form a team. And once now you have formed a team, and those who have done some bit on team formation, there are stages of team formation. It's up to the time we have a team, which you can call a team, that we'll now make a decision to name the team captain.
Yes.
So we don't want to make a mistake of naming a team captain before we have a team.
So you're gelling right
So
now.
what is happening is people are gelling, people are sharing ideas, trying to give and take so that you are on the same page. But what is very important, and one thing I really respect from our principals, all of them do agree, and this is what motivates all of us, that there is need to change the current government. All of them do agree. So that being the driving force, it means at some point there will be need for people to sacrifice. There will be give and take to make sure that that objective of changing the current government is achieved.
But I thought that should have been a foregone conclusion because
No, it's not.
No, why aren't you coming? You're coming as a united opposition for that sole purpose. So that one should not even be a question that you're discussing.
You know, there are always cracks, and I think that's why this pressure should not be. You should not apply pressure to us because the simple cracks which appear as a result of having no team is what makes people lose an election. So we want to make it tight, so that when we decide this is our team leader, and these are the players, the other team players, having given their positions.
So as it stands right now, you're not tight.
We are still building. I'm saying
you're still like porcupines.
Yeah, we are not a level
who are actually needling one another.
We are not in a position where we can say we have built a team.
Daktari, I told Debarl, he's just refusing to.
Yeah, to listen. I can see.
To listen to us. Debarl, we are not in a hurry. You are not going to tell us that, oh, you people rush, bring us a candidate. Why should we do that? We have not what you said and Jerry has said. Number two, there are certain, for all agreements, coalitions, you remember what happened? We had the Azimio coalition winning more seats. All right? And then what happened? The president picked these Azimio people, brought them to State House, signed agreement with them. They went, Moses Wetangula, my leader, went and made a wrong ruling.
We became the minority.
And Azimio became the minority. If Azimio had gotten the numbers that we had that time and the rulings were correct, it was impossible for President William to govern. That's number one. Number two, we do not want to repeat the mistakes that have been repeated before. Some of us, we have institutional memory. We saw the fights, I was there from the first time Kalonzo and Raila were together. I saw them fight. I saw them make up. What have we learned out of that opposition engagement?
The lessons learned.
The lessons learned.
Must apply
so we must apply them. And finally, people, when you have a new political outfit coming, in this case, we are talking about the coalition of Azimio, not the political parties. But in reality, let's be very honest, my brother, Gachagua, Wamunyoro, the Mzee, was in the government of President William Ruto. All right? So he's left that outfit, and we are happy that he's brought out the issues which he's always said which were wrong with President William Ruto, because we were saying those things even before he left government. So we are happy he's coming. We are going to sit down as a coalition and come up with a blueprint on what our manifesto is going to be. What are the issues we are going to talk about? Right, I see a lot of people writing, oh, these people are not even talking about critical issues of the country. The truth is, Kenyans know what the critical issues of this country are. Number one is corruption. Number two is the mismanagement of our resources. Number three, those things you can look at them. Look at the way we are handling agriculture. Look at the way what our land policy has become, where everybody in power grabs any piece of land they have, transfer it to themselves. We are saying, yes, some other leaders might want to continue with the status quo, but we are saying we want good governance for our people.
All right, finally, as we're winding up, I can see also time is running low on us. Just to ask, and we'll take you back a bit with what is happening with the dynamics regionally. Now that we have this big shift and the ouster of Edwin Sifuna, you've mentioned your party leader.
Yes.
Yeah, Wetangula at some point when you were Ford Kenya. And we have also Musalia Mudavadi. How do you see this ouster really playing out with these key political figures in the Western region? Will they diminish as some of the political linchpins that...
He starts or I start?
Yeah, whichever of you can actually go.
I can go, then you...
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I like using history. What happened when Wetangula was kicked out by ODM as being the minority leader in the Senate? He went back to the ground. The rest is history. That very, very act led the Bukusu community to become radicalized because they saw that their only opportunity they had, which was one senator, yes, he has a political party, yes, and he had a few members of parliament, I think 6 at that time instead of 12, but that didn't mean, they expected ODM to have behaved better. That's in fact to me.
So it really heightened his political optics?
Yes.
Okay.
Then that which then led Wetangula now to come up with a high premium where he was able to go and negotiate with President William Ruto for him to become the senator. I mean the speaker, which history has come to pass. Now, number two, if you look at essentially where Kenyan politics is, this is my honest feeling, we are going to be two groups. Those who are within the coalition of the opposition and those who are going to be pro-government, saying how government has done wonders, and will interrogate and audit ourselves. And that's what I pray and hope that that is what we are going to achieve.
Yes.
And the purpose for me of anybody trying to remove Sifuna from ODM, in fact, while you were off air, I just checked and saw what Raila's son has said. I saw what Winnie has said, and I've seen what Ruth Odinga have said. If you look at the cryptic messages they have sent, they are all talking about they disagree with the decision. So again, you're going to have these things coming in and moving on. My honest observation, if these people are not willing to rethink their position, then Sifuna and company and the team that was in ODM and was waiting hopefully for whoever that was going to take over to keep at least the spirit of ODM and maintain it for posterity, then the whole of this group is going to move, most likely moving to wherever, like he said very ably, that politics is local. And the truth is, whether we like it or not, like he said, I personally, Debarl will tell you, I really thank the people of Gusii land. Why? Because they have worked hard, they have planned, and we have agreed. We are going to support Fred Matiang'i as the presidential candidate. We are going to work with our equals, Mzee Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest, Waminyoro, and Eugene, and Justin Muturi, and Martha Karua. And for, if I was to say it right now, unscientifically, Fred right now as a candidate for presidency is at 96%. As a candidate, if he was to have the up and down races which are going to be distributed, he's at 85%.
For what metrics are you using this? This is your own estimate?
I'm saying it's my own estimate. It's like he said, if you go to Wiper area, we are now, the truth, you see what we fear talking about, Debarl. Kenyan politics, which is what determines how resources are shared, is discussed on the table. And people agree, am I lying? And people agree what we are going to do. That shouldn't be the standard.
All right.
The sharing should be equitable and fair.
Thank you.
But because we have a system that is broken, you must sit on the table.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from Makali Mulu, Mudavadi, Wetangula.
I think what you asked is what impact is this likely move of removing Sifuna from ODM like to have on Wetangula and Honorable Mudavadi. If you look at the last elections, you realize that the Western Kenya bloc was divided between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. And Azimio is the majority in terms of votes and in terms of members of parliament. That means that basically, whatever will happen down there will depend on which side the Sifuna team go. And I see a situation whereby if by this move, the Western people believe that their son has been harassed and they want to give what we call sympathy votes. And then they go to the side of where Sifuna will be. And there are all chances likely to be on the side of the opposition. Then I see a situation where more likely the political standing of Honorable Speaker Wetangula and Honorable Speaker Honorable Mudavadi is likely to be actually disadvantaged. So the move we should be watching is Ososi and Sifuna, what are their likely moves? If they go and consolidate their support, the Western Kenya support, then I can tell you for sure the other two will be disadvantaged. And they're likely to be, there's what we call natural, kind of being pushed naturally to retirement. You might see a move like that. But in case then it goes and there's no impact, then I see still Western Kenya remaining having two passions. Some supporting Kenya Kwanza and the other one supporting
Azimio.
Azimio. But because of Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Azimio has been having her hand, which I don't think now is likely to happen without him being there. So that's the move. The move someone will make is likely to determine what happens. But looking at the history, Western Kenya have not been known to put their eggs in one basket. If you look at the history. So they are likely that each of the coalitions will still get a share. It's a matter of who gets the lion's share and who gets the other small share. And that which will determine who wins. But it's a very popular region. Actually, at one point, I always imagine when I sit, that if they were to put their acts together, they would be determining who becomes the president of this republic.
Well, one of them can become the president of this country.
Kenya does.
Yes.
Unfortunately, their eggs are always in different baskets.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, I think this is a good point just to wind up the show. Really appreciate your input this evening. And we want just to give you a handy opportunity to just give your closing remarks, a punchy one for that matter. Let's just begin with you, Richard Onyonka. 30 seconds, your closing remarks.
For me, I wanted to say that Kenyan politics is very dynamic.
Yes.
I have a gut feeling and a hunch that this is not the last of Sifuna we are going to see. I believe that his role, if he comes into the opposition, the coalition, our coalition, and we stick together, it will be better for the country. I believe he's young enough to wait his time, like Babu and all these other young politicians. And I believe that the team he is with, you see, people always forget that Kalonzo Musyoka has been vice president for how many years?
5 years.
5 years. Then after that, he has been minister, he has been there, he's been in the opposition. Left government, Kanu, came into opposition, has stayed there, has seen the election. I mean, we have institutional memory and good people for the opposition to stick together. Our ambitions are not overly crazy. And I believe that is good for Kenya because Kenyans feel like we must never, never let them alone. Because the challenges of the country are quite weighty. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Debarl, very briefly, what I would want to say is, fellow Kenyans, devolution is a very important thing to us. It has been assessed to have been the best thing to happen in the 2020 constitution. The pull and push between senators and governors is not good for devolution. My appeal is, can we look down, can we sit down as Kenyans and in a very sober manner, isolate the gaps which are there to make devolution work. And please work on these gaps so that devolution becomes what it should have been from the word go. If we go that way, we'll be helping Kenyans and we'll help this country.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. When is your party leader back?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
He's coming back tomorrow. And I really want to say these are the hands. We need to have Kenya being in safe hands.
The steady hands you're talking about. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I really do appreciate it. Before you go, let me just wind up as well. Yes, really appreciate your valued company. They always say in essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty. In all things, charity. Let's congregate around constitutional matter, which is very principle. Of course, when it comes also to policy, we can have the freedom of debate when you have also the politicals sittings like we do. Respect and civility also is very key. Thank you very much for your valued company. Have a good one this evening.